Alright, we are live.
Detroit has the best sports fans in the world. That's why they deserve the best sports coverage in the world. We are the Woodward Sports Network.
Welcome back, you guys, to College Football Tuesdays. I am so excited to be here. We had such an amazing lineup of games this past week, and we are going to talk about them all. I am one of your hosts, Haley Scott, also joined to my right with Justin Satawa.
Yo, let's go.
And
so excited.
we have Ryan in the building at TD. Ryan, what's going on?
Nothing much. Glad to be back. I was at a soccer game last week. But I also got to give a quick shout out to my parents. Their 25th anniversary today. Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. Hope you guys have a great day. I owe lots and lots of things to you. I love you guys both, and I hope you guys appreciate your day off, and I will forever be in debt to you for everything you've done for me. So much love to you, Mom and Dad. And congrats.
There we go.
Congrats.
Shout out to Mike Reed in the chat, already in here. What up, Haley and Justin? Glad to have you here, Mike, and everyone else here in the Woodward Sports chat. Make sure you drop your thoughts about anything we're talking about. We love the input from our audience.
Absolutely. I'm feeling so good this Tuesday, like way too good. I think it might be those the caffeine gum that you gave me.
Dude, that caffeine gum has me dialed. Oh my
Yeah.
God. We tried this caffeine gum before the show. It's called, I think it's called Rev Gum. 100 milligram pieces of caffeinated gum. Man, I feel like I could run 5 miles right now.
Literally chewed it for like probably less than 5 minutes and already feel like very energized.
Yeah,
So
those things are. Oh,
Hey, where do I buy them? Like, where do you buy them at?
I got them at Dunham's. They were like $3.99 for a 6-pack. Pretty elite.
and I was
looks like I'm
also
going to
saying
Dunham's.
they have like chocolate, like energy little chocolates too, and they're really tasty.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm trying to get healthier. I'm trying to stop drinking energy drinks.
Like little pieces of chocolate?
They're like tiny pieces of chocolate, and I want to say they're like espresso chocolates,
Okay.
but they're taste good, and it's like quick intake of caffeine.
You know who hits like espresso?
Who?
Bryce Underwood. Yes, and you might as well call this show the Bryce Underwood Glaze Show, to be honest. As Neil coined earlier, he said that we guaranteed that me and Haley talk about Bryce Underwood.
Duh.
And we will. We're going to get all up in there. We're going to tell you all the ins and outs of the college football slate. Haley, why don't you tell them about our topics of the day?
Yes, we of course are talking Michigan and Michigan State, how those games went. Huge emphasis on Bryce Underwood and Aiden Childs. Those upcoming games that they will be playing the following week, as well as our picks for later on. So obviously every week we do picks on other games besides Michigan and Michigan State playing. So yeah, I mean, let's just hop right
Loaded slate.
into it. It's a loaded slate.
And we are presented by our great sponsor, BlackRock. Make sure you go there. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you. Get 20% off your bill. Pretty convenient, pretty good deal. We appreciate them showing love to the show.
BlackRock, sizzle above the rest. And you know who else sizzled above the rest? In my personal opinion, Bryce Underwood.
Absolutely.
In their game against Central Michigan with a great win, 63-3. I don't know if anyone's that surprised.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. Ryan, what's that face?
Dude, we sucked. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I was so confident.
He's talking about Central, by the way.
CMU,
Oh.
CMU, I was so confident that we could cover the 27.5-point spread. And by the time I walked from the tailgate spot to the garage bar, which was 20 minutes, it was 28-0. And I sent Braylon a text, and I said, my bet's cooked. And
Oh
thank
my
you.
God.
Thank you, Coach Drinkall. Appreciate it, my guy. I've only given you praise for the last 6 months.
Ryan, I'm so sorry that you had to
There you have
experience
it.
that.
Ryan, Central Michigan fan, absolutely
And alum.
hurt. Alum,
Shout
yes.
Shout out. Well, on the other side of things, Bryce Underwood was electric. Michigan had 8 rushing touchdowns. Bryce Underwood had 3, 2 on the ground. He played great. And this time you can really tell that they took the training wheels off of him, right? In their last game against Oklahoma, you could tell that they wanted to put like bubble wrap around him and kind of hold him back because they were scared of Oklahoma's aggression, which obviously did not play out in their favor. But this gives us some insight into what we can look forward to. Bryce Underwood ran the ball. He threw the ball deep. He used his legs. He took all the qualities in a good quarterback, all the qualities that he does have. And like we've talked about it before, in this day and age of football, you need to be a mobile quarterback. And finally, Bryce Underwood was able to show that. Yes, it was against Central Michigan, but this can kind of give us insight into what we can look forward to, hopefully in tougher competition, which is something that they definitely need to continue to incorporate. Obviously, I was talking about it on Neil and D-Mac show.
Big energy.
Yeah. Just how Bryce Underwood played. And I feel like they weren't really sold because it was against Central, but this is still a good start for him.
Absolutely. I think that's what you wanted to see. I think it's obvious now for Michigan that there was some element of, as you put it, bubble wrap on Bryce Underwood when it came to that Oklahoma game. And I truly believe that. There was an inability to scheme him to lead him to victory. And that's where I do blame the coaching staff. However, without Sharon Moore, Biff Poggi comes in, and now he's being used to his full arsenal. He's running. He is making good plays, whether that is making the decision to roll out and throw or roll out and run. I would have liked to see him slide a couple times. Bryce, you got to realize you are getting paid $10 million. It might be a thing or two to, mix a slide in here or there. I'm not trying to watch you end your NFL career by getting absolutely popped by a linebacker. I'm just going to say it, okay? Anyone else a little concerned about the fact he's not sliding?
Well, all quarterbacks don't really slide anymore.
Well, I understand that.
But yes, you should slide.
Like,
yes.
like we're playing Central Michigan. He's already got the first down by 5 yards, and he's not sliding. It's a concern. Chat, please back me up here. Are you not concerned about your $12 billion quarterback not sliding at Central?
It's not high school anymore, Bryce.
True.
And you could play that style. You still are a superior athlete to almost every single person on that field. Like, that is a fact. And he plays like it. The confidence he has, the way that he was running around those defensive ends, especially on his touchdown. His touchdown was absolutely epic. And he's been putting in work. I am excited to see what he does against Nebraska. We'll hit into that a little more. But everything that I wanted to see out of this offense, Chip Lindsey calling plays, only 3 screens. Only 3 screens for Chip Lindsey in Michigan last game, which I was concerned about. I thought they were going to spend the entire day handing the ball off and throwing screens. They didn't. They came out firing, especially that first drive. First drive, four completed passes by Bryce Underwood. That's what it's got to be. Like, we're playing Central Michigan. You know the run game's good. You got 2 elite backs. You got to find out how Bryce Underwood can be in those types of situations. You did. He played great. Now it's time to step up in the competition and see what he can do against Nebraska.
Absolutely. I think this game in particular, of course, was a good game for Sharon Moore not to be at. Obviously, you had Biff Poggi as the interim head coach. And actually, Biff Poggi was the head coach from 2023 to 2024 for UNC Charlotte football, which is where I went to school.
Shout out.
Shout out. I worked at a hotel restaurant as a server. And he came in, because it was on campus, he came in, so I actually got to meet him, get a little idea of what his personality is like. Seems like a cool guy. Was happy to receive a generous tip from him. So we were just talking
Good guy
about,
Biff, man. Look at him go. Come on.
He seems funny. I don't think that he was a great head coach for UNC Charlotte. And
No, not at all.
Isn't head coach
Hey,
material.
good guy Biff Poggi.
In my opinion, but I think on the more like assisting end, it works well, especially with his experience.
So is there some
to-
concern the fact that he is the interim coach going into Nebraska?
Obviously, Nebraska is tougher competition. So, yes, I'm definitely more concerned about him being interim coach.
You heard it here. Haley doesn't believe in Biff Poggi. I'm kidding.
Well, neither did UNC Charlotte because they fired his ass. But anyways.
Dang it.
Aggressive.
Well,
And Troy in the Woodward Sports Chat, make sure you get in there. Give us your opinion. We do value it here on the College Football Show. He's not in the NFL. He's played 3 games, lol. And I expect him to slide. Like, I'm sorry. Apparently, that's a crazy take. Is really like your $12 million freshman quarterback not sliding? Like, is that only a concern to me?
No, it's definitely not a concern. I mean, it happens with NFL quarterbacks. Remember, Joe Burrow with the Bengals would not slide for a really long time. I'll say this, though. I think there's got to be a little bit of a transition period because Bryce, 3 games in his true freshman year. The dude's only 18. He's going to learn. Like, he's going to know when he gets popped by a Big Ten linebacker. He'll know, or he'll learn from it. But I'll also say this. I'm not a huge advocate for having to use Bryce's legs. I really don't care how it happens, they move the ball down the field. I'll just say this. I don't want to see bubble screens all the damn time. I want to see a couple of read options a couple times a game. And, again, Michigan's offensive line is not great, so he's going to have to run regardless at some point. But I think Biff Poggi had a really good quote heading into the Central Michigan game, mentioning that the Oklahoma game, this is what he's mentioning, is we try to take the air out of the ball. And he said we can't do that against Oklahoma because that's what they're known for, and that's not going to happen again. We're going to let Bryce Underwood do what Bryce Underwood does. You're going to let the 5-star. And I think that should be the message going forward. However, let's not let Bryce do whatever the dude wants. All right, he's still a true freshman. It's still a team game, but I just don't want to see a bubble screen 3 times in a drive to Samaj Morgan and get 3 yards out of 3 plays and have to punt the ball. He doesn't need to run the ball
More
every
on
single
Samaj
play.
Morgan in a second.
Huh?
More about Samaj Morgan in a second.
But yeah,
I got
as
some
long
big
as-
takes about him.
As long as it doesn't look like Kirk Campbell's offense a year ago, I'm fine. I would like to see them throw the ball a little bit downfield more as the season continues to go on. But again, that'll happen with reps, and his wide receivers aren't the best. But go off about Samaj Morgan.
And you're here, so make sure you smash that like button. We appreciate everyone here. We're trying to build this college football show from the ground up, so make sure that if you like the content, you support us with a like. It's free, and we appreciate it. Haley, going into Nebraska, we saw what Oklahoma was able to do to Bryce Underwood. They brought constant pressure. They made him have to adjust and read the defenses. Do you think we're going to see a different Bryce Underwood now that Chip Lindsey has opened up the offense for Bryce Underwood a little more, not been so reliant on screens and running the ball directly up the middle?
I think so. I think a good solution moving forward is rushing with Bryce Underwood to open up running lanes with these tougher competitions. And I know, Ryan, you had said that maybe you don't, well, how do I word it? The value
Don't want to
of
see his legs as much?
Yeah, like, I will respectfully disagree because previously he was immobile, and it also reflected in the offensive line, in my opinion. And when they implemented more of a run game with Bryce Underwood, I feel like everyone improved as a whole. And when you have tougher competition like Nebraska coming up, that's an important thing to do.
Exactly. I think you hit it right in the head. Obviously, this Nebraska team is not Oklahoma, okay? Oklahoma has proven to me so far that they are going to be in the mix to make the playoff till the end. So that was a good true test. Going on the road like that, their defensive line got after it. They made Bryce Underwood's life hell. They continued to put pressure on him and make him uncomfortable. But I didn't feel like Michigan did him any favors with the way that they were calling the offense. They did a great job in the first drive, allowing him to make plays. From then on, I didn't think they did. So what I want to see is for them to not be so stubborn. And that's because you saw it against Central. They aired it out 4 times in the first drive, and then they let that establish the run. Because they made Central respect the passing game, running lanes continue to open for Justice Haynes and Jordan Marshall. That's what I want to see against Nebraska. I want to see them play off each other. I want to see a ton of play action. I want to see a ton of rollouts. I want to see Bryce Underwood be able to manufacture receivers getting open with his legs. And I'm not asking for 15 rushes, okay? I'm not asking for John Mateer's performance against Michigan where he's running the ball. I think he had over 15 carries in that game. I'm not asking for that. That's too many carries. I'm not looking for him to become this mobile quarterback. What I am looking for is 9 solid carries, extending drives, getting first downs, and making plays on read options. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I hope that we see against Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nebraska has a quality D-line, and if Michigan can rely on their run game, then I think they can come out with a dub for sure.
I'll also say this: we haven't touched on it yet. Is El Hadi should be out for this game. I think he's going to be out for.
It's a big loss.
He's going to be out for an extended period of time. He's a guard. I think they get Brady Norton back. But again, Nebraska's defense line, that is. Nebraska's defensive line is much better is better than Michigan's. But Nebraska's offensive line sucks. And so you're playing bad on good and bad on good on both ways. So it's going to eventually even out. I'll say this, though, is Underwood, I think, will have to make plays with his legs in terms of scrambling, because Michigan's offense line doesn't seem to block as well as it did in previous years. But he's going to have to make a couple of plays, and he might get popped in this game. And hopefully, he learns from it and has to slide a little bit. But we're going to have to see both quarterbacks, whether that's Dylan Raiola or Bryce Underwood, they're going to have to make plays. It's the tale as old as time. Players have to make the plays, and that's what Bryce Underwood and Dylan Raiola will have to do to win this game. I think it's going to be close, but whatever quarterback makes plays down the stretch is who's going to win. Look at the Oklahoma game. Mateer made more plays than Bryce Underwood down the stretch, and that's who ultimately won this game. And I still think the ground game for both of these teams is going to have to play a factor as well.
I think you hit the nail right in the head, Ryan. I really do. That was great analysis from you.
Thank you.
I think the quarterback play is 100% going to define this game. It's going to be which one of these young five-star quarterbacks really is going to take that next step and prove that he can play against the league competition.
Absolutely.
And I know a lot of people poo-poo on Nebraska and how Nebraska has been this, they're back for the last 2 years under Matt Rule. But you got to remember the rule of threes when it comes to him, and the fact that he consistently puts out a winner in year 3. I know that it looked tough against Cincinnati that in week 1, but at the end of the day, that's week 1. Okay, Michigan didn't look great in week 1. Nope. New Mexico was able to drive down the field on them multiple times. Okay, Cincinnati's a lot better than New Mexico. I think we all can agree on that.
Yeah.
And that's where I think this Michigan team has a great opportunity to go win this game, but it's going to be on the back of Bryce Underwood. Or if it's not, then Justice Haynes and Jordan Marshall are literally going to run for 300 yards, and they're going to completely own the game. Those are the only two ways that Michigan wins this game, is if Jordan Marshall and Justice Haynes go absolutely ballistic, or if Bryce Underwood becomes the man, steps up, and really shows you why he is this premier 5-star recruit, who you dubbed that he's a Heisman candidate.
Oh,
Still believe it.
And so that's a bold claim by Miss Haley over here. Okay, I know the stats are there, especially after that game against Central. However, I think that you're a year early to the party. Okay, I think there's a lot of great quarterbacks in college football this year. I think he has, especially with the Michigan wave. Like there's no hiding the fact that if you play at Michigan, you get a little bit of extra oomph when it comes to the Heisman vote, okay? So if maybe Bryce Underwood is just outside, he sneaks his way in there, I think you're a year too early. I think he has that potential, absolutely. But I think he's got to get a little more comfortable reading some defenses first, where in some of these games coming up, he's going to have some struggles, and the numbers might not reflect how good he's playing.
That's not to say that Michigan's identity is not Bryce Underwood, though. Do you agree or disagree?
I think the identity is trending towards Bryce Underwood. Yes, absolutely. I think it is going towards a play calling style, an offensive style that it fits Bryce Underwood's skill set, where it's not just going to be JJ handing the ball off 35 times.
Right.
It's going to be Bryce Underwood throwing the ball 35 times and them rushing the ball 30 times. It's going to be a more balanced attack, still dominant on the ground, but more of a balanced attack than it has been in the past.
As you were previously talking about Justice Haynes and Jordan Marshall, do you think that we will see a split backfield between the two?
I do think we will. I think that Jordan Marshall proved what we thought preseason. We saw it in the Alabama game. He is a workhorse back. He's got a lot of potential. He's got great vision. He doesn't have that explosive burst that Justice Haynes has. So I want to see a little 60-40 action. I want to see Justice Haynes be that Jahmyr Gibbs, come in, be electric, make plays, because he constantly makes plays. And then Jordan Marshall comes in, and he just hammers them home, gets him those third downs, those fourth and shorts. That's kind of what I envision for this offense. But Justice Haynes can also be used in short yardage. I don't have fear of that.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking the Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery route. Obviously, they're not anywhere near David Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jordan Marshall really reminds me in terms of a mentality standpoint, and the way he runs is very Blake Corum-esque. And I also think this is good to note as well, is Marshall just mentioned in the post-game CMU press conference that the Texas loss a year ago really divided this football team. And compared to this year, we look at the Oklahoma game, he said they had a player-led meeting. So I think in terms of the mentality of this team, it's changing a little bit. There's one last thing I want to point that I think is going to play a factor in this game is Michigan. When you get a team to third down, get off the field.
Absolutely.
It happens time and time again. They can't get off the field on third down. There's also Barham and Brandon Hillman. Could you guys just wrap up one time? Like, why do you have to go in headhunting every single play? Just wrap up. And there's going to be a couple times in this game where there could be a wrap-up, and they're not good tacklers anymore. Ever since Jesse Minter left, they're not good tacklers anymore. And I do think if Rod Moore does come back, that can absolutely change because Rod Moore is a very smart football player, and he seems to tackle really,
I'm
really
hoping
well.
he's back this week, 100%. And Brendan Armstrong, good show, guys. Thank you. We appreciate it. Sharon Moore needs to do what Harbaugh did, 1 to 2 great transfer linemen going forward every year and should target 1 to 2 great wide receivers every year also going forward, and that will help the offense. Obviously, that would help the offense, but I do agree. The offensive line part is absolutely key. That was how he did make his money over his glory years, were the ability to bring in quality offensive linemen from multiple places around the country and then instill them into this Michigan system and turn them into very great players. I think that was a very big skill about Jim Harbaugh. And I don't think that they're going to have to be struggling to find wide receivers in the portal. I think wide receivers are going to want to come here. I told you, I think that there's going to be a huge
Definitely
wide
after
receiver
this year.
transfer in the next 2 years. Well, Bryce Underwood's the quarterback here because some really great wide receiver looks and sees the potential that this kid has. And like, you know what? I want to go play with a quarterback that can throw it on the run 60 yards downfield on a dime. That's
Right.
that's where I want to play. I want to play with that guy. So I think we're going to see some really good transfers coming in for Michigan over the next couple of years. Sharon Moore, if he's proven anything, it's his ability to recruit. He's been a great recruiter in his time here. Maybe not as much as you would like in the transfer portal, but in terms of being a high school recruiter, he's done a great job.
Justin, to that point, there are 2 incoming wide receivers in the top 200. Zion Robinson out of Texas, he's 177 in the nation. Travis Johnson out of Virginia, who's 130 in the nation. And Andrew Marsh, a true freshman, they have high hopes on. He looks very freshman-like at the moment, but I'm sure with reps and time goes on, he'll continue to get better. But if they can add a wide receiver in the portal every single year, or maybe a tight end, I think they could absolutely continue to add weapons year after year. You know that they already have a 5-star running back in Savion Hyder, who's top 10 in the nation. Of course, they're really excited about that. But again, you're going to continue to add piece after pieces every single year. And again, there's also great Michigan quarterbacks coming in through the recruits over the last couple of cycles.
So it looks like we have some good options for the future. Speaking of wide receivers, I know you wanted to touch on Samaj Morgan. He had a 32-yard touchdown. Very impressive. Do tell us more.
I really want to dive into the wide receivers because I think this is an interesting dynamic that Michigan has right now. Obviously, I think we all can agree Donovan McCulley has underperformed so far this season.
Yeah.
He looks like a quarterback playing wide receiver.
That's
I mean, I know that's exactly what's going on, but Terrell Pryor looked like a wide receiver when he moved to wide receiver. There's a difference. So I think that leaning on him as a true number one is very dangerous. Because I can already see the inconsistencies in his game and his route running. He obviously has all the physical tools you could possibly need to be a dominant wide receiver in college football. I don't think he has the brain for it. However, Samaj Morgan, okay, yes, you mentioned it, 32-yard touchdown. However, he was wide open. No one was covering him. I don't give him much credit on that one. He ran a beautiful post corner that wound up being a touchdown, but there wasn't a guy within 6 feet of him. I don't value Samaj Morgan as an every down receiver. I don't think that he is that good of a player. I think he's a gadget guy. I think he's an end around, a slot guy at times, but I don't think he makes enough plays for you to really be a slot guy. The slot guy is the player that you can rely on in short yardage to run a crisp route and make a tough catch. I don't feel like Samaj Morgan is that guy. Now, I do think there are players on this roster who deserve some more playing time, and you saw it against Central. Godwin and Marsh both looked fantastic. And they both showed flashes against Oklahoma as well. But in terms of having the feel for the game, the feel for getting open, the hands, the toe taps, being able to navigate the chains, because you remember in the New Mexico game, Donovan McCulley made that catch where he was a yard short on 3rd and 11. That can't happen when you're a receiver. You have to get the sticks. And that's something that I saw with Marsh and with Godwin this week, where I'm confident in them. I think they need to continue to start eating into Samaj Morgan's wide receiver reps, and I think that Donovan McCulley is going to turn into a specialist by the end of the year. I think he's going to be standing out there when you need a large option and run some deep routes, but when he's running short yardage routes, might as well not even have him on the field. Like, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not. But at the same time, he's a quarterback. He's a quarterback playing receiver with every bit of athletic talent that you could possibly have. It's just not clicking, and he is only a one-trick pony out there, and that's what scares me when you could have guys who are playmakers on the field.
So what I'm grasping is you think that they should be phasing out Samaj Morgan in the offense
Not
a little
phasing out, just a lesser role. I think that they're using him in a way where he can be successful, but you have other players who can be more successful. I truly believe that Andrew Marsh or Goodwin would both be better options in the slot than Samaj Morgan. They both are better route runners. They both have better hands. They're better with contested catches. They're not as quick at the yak. They can't get off the ball in the way that Samaj Morgan can. But that's not what I want out of a wide receiver. That's the running back's job. Like, I'm just gonna call it how it is. That's the running back's job. The running back's job is to be good with the ball in his hands. When you're a wide receiver, you have to catch the ball. You have to run good routes, and that's what I think Marsh and Godwin give you.
And you look at the really good Michigan teams the last couple of years, they didn't have like the greatest wide receivers, but the thing is they had great hands. There weren't many drops, and they were smart football players. Like Cornelius Johnson, time and time again, would fall forward, pick up a first down. I remember there was a big play on a 3rd down against Ohio State on that drive that kind of killed like 5 or 6 minutes of clock. And it was a 3rd and like 2 or something, and he threw a little hitch, JJ did, and he fell right into the first down. Roman Wilson, time and time again, great slot wide receiver. And I think with Michigan, I firmly believe this from the beginning of the season, is this team is obviously not winning a Big Ten championship. They're not winning a national championship. However, I do think this year is going to set the foundation of the new Michigan era. They're going to set down the new foundation. Again, Harbaugh left the cupboards bare. I know you want to say they had 5 picks in the first 60. They left them bare. But Sharon's doing his best to lay down this foundation, and that is going to come with wide receivers. They're young. They're inexperienced. But as the time continues to go, they're going to build these guys up in the weight room, continue to get more reps on the field, in practice, and by next year, and I don't want to sound like just wait till next year, guys. I don't want to. I still think this Michigan team makes the playoff, but as we go further along in the future, you're going to see these wide receivers make bigger plays, and it's not going to look as inexperienced and not as smart on the football field.
Do you expect to see more of a split between Godwin and Marshall?
I don't expect them to split with each other. I expect them to split with other people. I expect both of them to take snaps away from McCulley and take snaps away from Samaj Morgan. I don't think they're going to eat into each other's snaps at all. I think they're only both going to start playing more and more. I also would love to see them run a little more 2 tight end sets. I feel like
that's what Michigan's built on.
Yeah, I feel like they've been lacking that a little bit. With Hogan and Klein, we got 2 really good tight ends who both can make plays
And block.
I think that's a very tough matchup to face, especially with our O-line issues as well. It's nice to have the extra meat in there to be able to run the ball effectively, and then also they kill on play action. Like those tight ends kill on play action, especially Klein after the catch. You know who also kills is John F. and Lord, Brennan Armstrong, and Mike Reed. Still sticking with us. We appreciate you.
I do like Brennan Armstrong's comment about they need to get a couple transfer offensive linemen in every single year. And I go, if you look at Michigan team in the playoffs, they had to transfer 1 or 2 linemen every single year. And I think that's kind of the new day and age of college football. And wide receivers too.
Absolutely.
Well, we've talked quite a bit about Michigan football.
And we will get back to it when we give you our picks for the game later in the show. So make sure you stay here for our pick 'em.
Neil was right.
About what?
That we talked a lot about Bryce Underwood.
Shocker.
I mean, he is the leading story in the state. So, I mean, you got to give the people what they want, and the people want Bryce Underwood.
But now we can
You got to show
turn
love to the other school in the state.
our heads to the other Michigan school, Michigan State, and we can talk a little bit about their performance overall with Youngstown State and Aiden Childs as the QB. What do we think about that game? Because I have some thoughts.
This game, first of all, the NCAA absolutely cucking MSU by not allowing them to practice at 11 p.m. Like, the NCAA, you can't start practice apparently after 10 p.m. That's ridiculous. The fact that they're going to play an 11 p.m. game on the West Coast, but can't even get their bodies acclimated to it is so stupid. Such an NCAA thing to do. And that's inexcusable. However, I am very excited for this game.
You know, State's offense looked good. Their defense is still trash. Like, I'm still shocked that Youngstown State got 24 points on them.
Absolutely.
I thought State would be able to cover a lot better, but I'm
they're
really just shocked that Youngstown State could, like, run the ball that well.
And BC did it as well, and I do think that is a concern.
Definitely
Absolutely.
a concern moving forward when they're going to play USC. If Youngstown can get 24 points on them, then how many points can USC get?
Yeah, but that question goes both ways when we're talking about USC. USC also can't stop a soul. If Purdue's quarterback didn't piss down his leg in the entire game, he threw 4 picks in the red zone. He was driving the ball downfield on USC the entire game. They were running on USC as well. I know USC is the number 1 offense in college football, but I don't value your games against Missouri State, Georgia Southern, and Purdue. Sorry if that's a crazy take, but I do think that Michigan State's going to put up a good fight. I think there's a very good pathway for them, and I'll give you my reasoning in a second.
Yeah, it's a staple of Lincoln Riley's teams. Even when he was at Oklahoma, is they have no defense. That's just how Lincoln Riley coaches football. That's why I really wanted him to go to the Cowboys way back in the day, because they would have been cooked and he would have been eaten out alive there. But I'll say this: Michigan State, they did lose. What's his name? I always rhyme it with Luka Doncic, but Luka Vincic. They lost one of their best offensive linemen out for the year. Nick Marsh, excuse me. Nick Marsh is a little bit banged up as well. So
Day-to-day on that one.
Michigan State is a little banged up, and I have experience playing out west. It was travel soccer, and that's completely different. But then NCAA football, Division I. But it does affect you in a way. I played a game out there at like 9 or 10 o'clock and out their time. So, I'm in like midnight 1 a.m. mode, and it does play a factor. So I can't even imagine what it's like to play a game like they're in a Division I tackle contact sport like football. I do think the NCAA messed that up. With all this conference realignment, all these different changes, you think that should play a factor at all? And I will say, I think Michigan State, though they are 3-0, I did predict them to win 3-0. I know their fan base is a little upset by the way it looked.
Just be happy that you're 3-0.
Exactly what I'm saying. A win's a win. And I know you gave up 24 points to an FCS school, but you got to be happy with it. I still think...
And it's also a letdown spot. They were coming off playing BC, and like
triple overtime.
That's a big... Like, that was a huge win for Michigan State. Like, let's just call it what it is. Like, that was a program-defining win. People would have been calling for Jonathan Smith's job if he would have lost that game. Like, point-blank period. And then you want to parlay that with going to overtime, it being so epic. Like, they were due for a letdown spot. It happens all the time. These college kids can't play their A game every single week, especially when you're playing an FCS school. I mean, it's too much to ask.
So it leads us into the question of really how good is USC?
Standard USC. 8-4, terrible defense, electric offense.
Number 1 offense in the country, actually.
They're fake good. They're Avery Johnson of football teams. They're fake good.
I think USC, they'll make a bowl game. Maeva is top 5, I think, in passing.
Maeva's nice. I'll give him credit. He's nice. He's a good quarterback.
Their wide receivers are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good receivers.
It's just Lincoln Riley's team. It's defense. It's why they never won anything major in terms of.
Purdue was beating them up front.
Huh?
Purdue was beating them up front. That's insane. Purdue. We're not talking about Iowa. We're talking about Purdue.
See, Iowa would make more sense. They're known for dominating the trenches, but I think USC. You'll see. I haven't looked at their schedule. I'm sure they'll win 7-8 games, but they're not a threat to win the Big Ten. They're not a threat to the playoff or anything like that. They're just kind of just above mid.
And
absolutely fair.
You've said they've played easy teams so far, so it's not really they've showed how they
I value
can
Michigan State's win over BC than their win over Purdue.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think BC is better than Purdue.
But I do think that State can put up a good fight. Playing the number 1 offense in the country, concerning with that bad of a defense in State.
This game's going to be an absolute shootout.
Big problem in their secondary.
Take the
pass
over.
Defense.
This game's going to be 50-30. It's
Right.
going to be insane. There's going to be zero defense played in this game. It's going to be an absolute show. It's going to be old Pac-12 after dark.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
It is. They're going to be light and I'm going to be awake. I mean, I got a hockey game in the morning at 8 a.m. Don't care. I'm still going to stay up for the whole game. I'm going to love it. It's going to be an absolute offensive shootout. And I like Michigan State to compete in that shootout. I mean, I think that if one thing is clear with this Michigan State team is their offense looks to be good.
Right.
And obviously we haven't seen Aiden Childs against a really elite opponent, but I don't think that USC's defense is much better than Boston College's defense because I don't value their defense at all. So I really do think Michigan State's going to put up a great fight. They're going to keep it close. They're going to put up a lot of points, especially if Nick Marsh plays. If he doesn't, I'm still rather confident that they're going to compete. I think the 17.5 number is way too big. I think it's way too many points. I think this game is a 10. This is a 10-point game, I think. I think USC is going to win, but Michigan State's going to battle the whole way. There's going to be times where you could think that they're going to win the game, to be completely honest, where they could make a drive and cut the lead down to 7 or something like that, and you're all right, Michigan might have a chance, but then their defense can't get a stop to save their life, so they're going to end up getting ran up on. I do think that this is a good spot for Michigan State to be in at this point in the season, though.
I just think that the biggest concern is Nick Marsh being questionable. So we still don't know if he's going to play in that game. And personally, if he does play in that game, they could have a chance at even winning, maybe. But
I think it's on the table. When a defense is as bad as USC, anything can happen. And all it takes is for Aiden Childs to be hot. And him, would you be surprised if we come back next week and Aiden Childs outplays Jaden Maeva?
No.
Would that be an utter shock? You are literally sitting here I can't believe what I just watched. Aiden Childs is a very good college quarterback, and he could be pressing into the top 20, top 15 quarterbacks in the country.
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't be shocked by it. I would be more pissed than anything because Michigan State would probably have won that game. I'd be more upset about that, but I wouldn't be shocked if Childs is throwing for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. I almost said this game could be like Baker Mayfield versus Mahomes back in 2016, but they're not scoring 66, 59
No, they're
points.
not.
That's a little far.
Let's relax a little bit on
exactly.
that
I know. I pulled it back. I'm saying that's my initial thought, but I would not. Childs, gotta give the kid a little bit of credit. He's gotten better. He's more improved than last year.
Decision making is great.
He's not as dumb as he was a year ago. He's not making the dumb, stupid plays as he was a year ago. So there's going to be times where Childs is going to have to make a play, and I think more times than not, he's going to make a play in this game because of how bad USC's defense is and how much more improved Childs has been since last year.
It will be very telling for sure. And if State can come out with a win against USC, what would this mean to Jonathan Smith and MSU?
I
He's
think
here next
this
year.
would be a statement win. This would be a statement win for Michigan State. They're 17.5 underdogs on the road. They got to travel across the country. Regardless of how much you value USC, they still are a solid team and the class above Michigan State. So I think this moves you from the middle of the pack of the bottom of the Big Ten. Like you're just above Northwestern. You're just above Rutgers. Like all those like Wisconsin. You're just above there. Now you're trying to get into the conversation that's just below like the Michigans, the Indiana. Like you're trying to get to that spot where you need to be where USC is, where they are until proven otherwise, they're a 7 or 8 win team. That is linear progression for Michigan State and something that Michigan State fans should hang their cap on.
This is, if Michigan State wins this game, this I think is a game that will prove how much longer Jonathan Smith has and the trajectory of this program. If you're looking at that Boston College game, that was a game you had to have if you were Jonathan Smith in Michigan State. You had to have this game. However, there's 4 games on Michigan State's schedule. This one, Indiana, Michigan, they're not beating Penn State, but those 3 games, if they can win one of those 3 games, I think Michigan State will be on the right trajectory as a program regarding the future. I know Childs is a redshirt sophomore or a junior, whatever he is, but that'll prove the trajectory of this team going forward. If they lose all 3 games, I think you're looking at Jonathan Smith may have just one more year left, or he could be gone depending on how the season goes. But if they win this game, maybe snipe one from Michigan or Indiana, you're going to see Jonathan Smith have bought himself another year in East Lansing.
Being 3-0, State has a good basis of a medium level of respect right now. I think a lot of people still doubt Jonathan Smith and State as a whole just based off of their performance in previous years. But definitely this win against USC would mean so much to them, especially with the conversation of how long is Jonathan Smith going to last at State, as well as talk of a bowl game. It's like if you beat USC, then we can really start taking the conversation more seriously on like, can they get it up to 6 wins? Can they make a bowl game?
If you're looking at last year, Michigan State started 3-0. Their only they were tough game against FAU, tough game against Iowa, and tough game against Maryland and Purdue, by the way. Purdue sucked historically. But the games that they, were underdogs, they didn't really put up a fight in any of these games. They really didn't. They got the doors blown off. But if they put up a fight here and they win one of those 3 games as I mentioned, I think the future is definitely a lot brighter if he doesn't win any of these 3 games.
Absolutely, especially with this game. They are the underdogs, obviously, and they're traveling. So they have a lot of disadvantage, but this is football. Anything can happen. So I'm very excited to watch.
Absolutely.
So now that we have gone over our Michigan teams, I would love to get into the upcoming games going on this week and talk about our picks.
Absolutely. I think we do have to take a moment, though, acknowledge the great week of college football that it was last weekend. I mean,
100%.
Wow. Like, seriously, from front
Cinema.
to back, 12 to midnight, even after midnight, if you were a real sicko and you watched Cal, Minnesota like I
did not.
But, no, front to back, great slate of games. I mean, you started the day with Michigan and Central.
Good game that was.
Yeah, real great.
Some
Yep.
game.
Come on, Chips. There
Fire
you go.
up!
Yeah. However, Georgia Tech Clemson was cinema, great game through and through, and then we got treated with a premier Georgia masterclass against Tennessee, who
that was a great
showed
game.
some life as well. Joey Aguilar showing that he's low key got the ish.
So I actually lost a 6-pack alcohol bet with my uncle on that one. So my uncle lives down in Tennessee, Knoxville, hates Tennessee, and I told him, do the Vols get it done this weekend? And he's like, no. He's like, want to bet a 6-pack on it? And I was like, yeah, give me the Vols. And yeah, thanks Tennessee. Appreciate it.
That was a crazy game because Tennessee really had them in the first half.
Had him
and
in the
then-
first half.
Yeah,
I thought of
Georgia
that
came
meme
back.
Had him in the meme.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, obviously, the nightcap, Texas A&M at Notre Dame.
Insane.
Insanity. The missed PAT, leading to the kick return for a touchdown, leading to being called back, and then Marcel Reed showing why he's dog.
Texas with a game-winning drive.
Who
All right.
was the Notre Dame holder? Because he was a former 5-star QB at Alabama. What was
Yes,
the dude-
Buchanan, I believe. I don't remember his name. They were saying it on the broadcast.
But no, I remember. I'm like, dude, that's that old 5-star.
Yep. I was thinking the same thing. I absolutely. So now, we'll take you through the records of the picks so far.
Oh, yes.
I am 12-6, 4-0 on my best bets. Haley, 9-9, the epitome of 50%. Ryan missed out last week, went to the U.S. men's national team World Cup prelim, so hopefully that was worth no picks. Because
Oh, it was totally worth it.
Yeah, I'm sure. You are 8-4 at the moment, a great percentage
Hey,
as well.
8-4. We'll take that. That's like USC.
Absolutely, absolutely. Haley, let me take us through the games here.
Let's
Start it off. Texas Tech at Utah. Utah favored by 2.5 points. Tough place to go in and play on the road. I wish this was a night game. At noon, it feels criminal for, honestly, one of the best games of the day. 16 versus 17. How you feeling?
I feel like Texas Tech is going to come with a win, come guns blazing, especially having one of the most explosive offenses in the country. You have Baron Morton, who has completed 70% of his passes.
Very good.
And that pass attack is also complemented by a very strong run game. I have a lot of faith in Texas Tech. For that reason, it's going to them.
Give me Utah. Give me Utah. Let's ride. I don't even know the Utes. Yeah, let me ride with the Utes. I like them.
The U is back, and it's not in Miami because they're already back. It's in Utah, baby. Devin Damper, one of the best group of 5 transfers in all the country this year. Elite dual threat option. You thought Alex Orji was good on the ground. Wait till you get a look at this guy, Devin Damper. He's an absolute dog. I actually love watching him play. And then this Utah defense is up to brand. I really think that Utah is going to come out. They're going to roll. First away game for Texas Tech. Not favorable in this type of environment that Utah brings.
It will be a good game to watch,
It's
though,
going to be a great game.
with such an explosive offense in Texas Tech and then such a great defensive front in Utah.
Absolutely.
That's going to be good to watch.
Great matchup that you just pointed out there, Haley.
Thanks. What's next?
Next, we go to the hate parade that I have towards Jackson Arnold. Auburn, traveling to play Oklahoma, Arnold's former team. 6.5 point spread. Norman's going to be rowdy. Top 25 matchup. Auburn ranked 22. Oklahoma ranked number 12. Underrated. However, this is going to be a great game. SEC play has started, which means that there is very great games every single weekend. And Just Dirt, let's go you. He's with us with the Utes.
So Auburn has been doing a good job at running the ball and being aggressive, but my biggest question for them is, can they unlock the pass game? Short answer, no. I'm going to give this to Oklahoma. Obviously, we have, with Auburn, Jackson Arnold returning to Oklahoma, but I don't think that they can push the ball down the field and make Oklahoma, have to rely on the back end. I just don't see that happening.
Fair.
So,
Yeah, I got to watch Auburn one time against Baylor. They did impress me a little bit in that game. However, the other games not so much. I think Jackson Arnold is gonna play better than he normally does in these situations, just because a little bit of a revenge game. But give me Boomer Sooner and Mateer's legs to get it done.
I'm absolutely with you. Give me Boomer. Give me the Sooners. Give me Mateer. Give me Arbuckle. Give me Burks. I mean, that D-line is elite.
Yeah.
And when Jackson Arnold plays against an elite D-line, he tends to struggle.
chokes.
I think that is the recipe here. I think Oklahoma is going to roll. I do believe that Auburn made a mistake wasting a year of Cam Coleman with Jackson Arnold. He's truly one of the best wide receivers in the country. He's in a role where they don't throw the ball much. I do think this Auburn team's good, but I think this Oklahoma team's better.
Agreed.
All right, we're going to move quickly. Another Big 12 mystery game. Very weird line on this game as Arizona State travels to Baylor to take on the Bears. -2.5 for Baylor in Texas. Arizona State coming off their loss to Mississippi State the last time they were on the road.
I'm going to give this to Arizona State, but yeah, I don't really mess with Baylor.
All right.
Baylor cost me money in the first week against Auburn, so they've really pissed me off since then. And I'm going to go with the up-down theory and Sam Levitt and Arizona State. They bounce back, get a big win here.
I mean, they must have looked at my show sheet. You guys are a bunch of criminals. Can't lie. Anyway, give me Arizona State. This reeks to high hell. I don't know. This is the same line as we saw in the SMU Baylor game 2 weeks ago. I think this is going to be the exact same game. I think Arizona State's going to win, and
Find some way to come out with it.
yeah, I'm with the up-down theory is another one. Now they know how to travel on the road. They don't have to travel all the way across the country like they did to get to Mississippi.
Wait, can you explain the up-down theory, actually?
In college, it's very common that teams don't play up to par the next week after they have a big win or a big loss. So the thing here is Baylor coming off of some big wins. They beat SMU. And then Arizona State just lost to Mississippi State, got upset, but had a good showing in the second half. That's my up-down theory.
Yeah, I don't really have to add anything else, so good job, Justin.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. I'm trying to
The
do my
more you
best
know.
up here.
Up-down theory.
You know who's
okay.
also trying
Forks
to do their
up.
best is Illinois and Ryan's favorite coach on the face of the earth, Kurt Signetti, as they travel to play the Hoosiers in Bloomington. How you feeling, Miss Haley?
I feel
4.5
indifferent,
spread in
but,
that game.
I think that this will be a really good game, obviously, because this is like such a critical matchup to see. I mean, both of these teams need to win. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because this could be very telling on making it to the playoffs. So they're going to fight for it. They're going to fight like they need to win. And I personally am going to give it to Illinois over Indiana.
Remember when Desmond Howard was asked last year if he was going to pick against Michigan? Do you even have to ask me? Illinois all day. Screw Signetti. He's a bum, and he's going to get embarrassed in a big game once again. Give me Illinois.
All right. I guess they didn't read my notes because I guess I'm on an island on this one. I see the vision with Indiana, okay?
Yeah.
I think that they reloaded very well. I like Mendoza. I think he's got some dog in him. I can't lie. However, obviously, Altmaier is an issue. He played very good at Duke, but I don't value that Duke game anymore. That game doesn't matter to me at all. Duke's trash. Duke just lost to Tulane. They're trash. I don't know why Illinois is ranked number 9. I don't know why Illinois is not favored in this game. So I'm going to take Indiana, and I think they're going to win, and I think they're going to roll.
Both teams definitely still have some things that they need to clean up. My question...
So are these next two teams. Michigan State at USC.
Okay.
That's a playoff primer, by the way. Illinois and Indiana will define which one of those crappy Big Ten teams makes the playoff.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, absolutely. Like, this game is going to be pointed to on the schedule by the playoff committee and be like, okay, that team's in the playoff. They won that game. Anyway, Michigan State, cross-country travel to the bright, sunny, well, it's going to be at night, so I guess palm trees and darkness, no stars because it's in L.A.
True. Hella air pollution.
Michigan State traveling to USC, 17.5-point spread. I think everyone believes that USC is going to win this game.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can just say that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to force you to
USC
pick the
by
spread on
10.
this game. I'm sorry.
All right.
I don't usually do this. So are they going to win by more or less than 17.5 points? I think that's the better question. Is
Yeah,
Michigan State
actually,
going to
that
be
is a good
competitive in
question.
this game?
Are they going to win by more or less? I'm going to say... It really depends on Nick Marsh.
It does. Well, we are filming on a Tuesday, so you're put on the spot.
All right.
The good thing about you is you can rescind on Saturday. Michigan, Nebraska preview show, 2:30, 3:30. Make sure you tap in. Haley's hosting with Nick. Ryan will be here for the watch party with KG. But Miss Haley, do you think that this will be a competitive game or no? And you can always rescind on Saturday.
All right. So I will have faith in State and say less than 17.
All right.
I think USC will win by 14. I know I said 10 like 10 seconds ago, but I'm going to go 14. USC wins it by.
I think it's 10. I think Michigan State's going to be a lot more competitive than people think, and that's just mostly because USC's defense is absolutely trash. And I think Michigan State's going to run up and down the field with them, a lot like I think Michigan's going to be able to run the ball on Nebraska as they travel to Lincoln. I will be in attendance, ripping my Bryce Underwood jersey. That's why I will not be on the broadcast this Saturday. Sorry to disappoint everyone. I have big things going on in Nebraska, just like Bryce Underwood and Dylan Raiola.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give this to Michigan. I don't think that Nebraska can really scheme around the trenches when it comes to Michigan. And obviously Michigan has like a good defensive line in front seven. I think they'll be set. I have a lot of faith in Bryce Underwood. I'm excited to see how he will play against Dylan Raiola. I also think Dylan Raiola is a great player. So, yeah, I think it'll be good competition, but the win is going to Michigan.
Nebraska seems to always be a tricky place for the Wolverines outside of when they killed them like 49-0. But history has shown it's a tricky place to go there. Even Aiden Hutchinson-led Wolverines took them to the last second to win it. I'm going to say the Wolverines, I think the spread's 2.5, 3.5, something like that.
2.5.
2.5. I'm going to say the Wolverines get it done 27-24, and it's going to come down to Zavada kicking a game-winning field goal. It's going to come down to.
I like it. I have gone back and forth about this game. I do think Nebraska's a bigger threat than a lot of other people. I got Neil saying that they're not a threat, and Spenny saying they're not a threat. I do think they are better than advertised. I think this is a solid Big Ten football team who will be on the cusp of making the playoff. They'll be a 9-3, 8-4 team at the worst. I truly believe that. However, I'm willing to get hurt picking Michigan.
It's the hope that kills.
It is the hope that kills. And I'm willing to take the nod on the record. If I end up losing this game, I'm willing to take it on the chin because I do believe in Bryce Underwood, okay? I'm not going to lie. I think that if they scheme up the right game plan, there's no way they should lose the game. Like, I firmly believe that. I think that Michigan has superior players at every single position on the field, essentially, outside of wide receiver, and they should be able to get it done. And it's point by period. I think that this team, if they truly are a playoff team, they will win this game. And if you were saving Bryce Underwood for the Big Ten, unleash him. Because this is actually unleashing the Lamborghini. Not against Central. The Lamborghini was still it was still in the garage. Had a speed cap on it. You know? They weren't letting him go over 80 miles an hour. We're seeing 110 against Nebraska. And I'm ready for it. I want to see him running around, gripping and ripping, making play after play, and I expect him. He has the upward potential to outplay Raiola, like in terms of ceilings, like how good Underwood could play. He has a bigger chance to completely take over the game than Dylan Raiola does.
You know what this game reminds me of? Reminds me of Michigan-Wisconsin 2021. I know Wisconsin was not a great team, but it was still a road test. Michigan was unproven at the time. And they never won in Camp Randall for a long time before that game. And Cade McNamara, of all people, went in there and won.
Yep.
Can Bryce? It seemed that Wisconsin-Nebraska team seem really similar to this Nebraska team to that Wisconsin team. So I'm going to say it's similar to that feel. And Michigan struggled a little bit towards the end of that game. Michigan eventually blew them out at the end of the fourth quarter. They struggled in the third quarter, blew them out in the fourth quarter, but. That's how it seems. If Michigan is like you said, if Michigan's a serious playoff team, they got to win this game. They got to. They got to find a way. I don't care how, but they got to find a way.
And opposingly, we know that Nebraska is going to try and find a way to try and seep through some of the cracks that Michigan has. They are a bit limited in their perimeter, and I think that Nebraska is going to try and like dial up their attacks on the perimeter. Doing things like that could lead to, a questionable turnout. But yeah.
You know what's
definitely.
not questionable, though? The coverage that you, Nick, Ryan, and KG are going to give the people on Saturday for the Michigan game all day long. We're going to have your Michigan coverage pre-watch and post-game show for all of you guys. I hope that everyone enjoyed this episode. Please smash that like button. It helps us so much. We're a growing pod, so if you enjoy college football, make sure you tap in, leave us a comment. Tell us you like the show. Tell the company you like the show. Tell the company you like Haley, for all I care. Just please leave a comment. You should, because Haley's awesome as well. So is Ryan. Kinda. I'm kidding. All right, we'll catch you in the next one. College football show on Woodward Sports. See you later. Peace.
Peace. Peace. Peace.